Good morning, everybody. Well, I'm Laura Borsch from base Amsterdam, and I have the pleasure to introduce to you Simone Vincenzi, our fantastic host for this workshop. I will say a few words about Simone, just to begin. It is a fact that 100 million new businesses start every year, and 90% of them fail within 3 years. How do we create sustainable businesses? Simone is a multi-award-winning serial entrepreneur and author who has helped people to launch more than 500 profitable businesses before he reached the age of 30. Very impressive. He writes for Forbes, for Entrepreneur Magazine, and regularly features on TV and radio. And now he's gonna share with you how you can become an authority in your field and get known, get paid, and make an impact. If you have any questions during the session, please write them in the chat box. And we are reserving 15 minutes at the end of the session to answer them. So please, we encourage you to be very active and write what is on your mind. If you get inspired and you have any question, Simone is going to answer them at the end. Thank you very much. Simone.
All right, that's brilliant. Thank you very much, Laura. I appreciate it. So whenever then we are ready, I can start with a screen share. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming here today. And as I mentioned, what we are going to talk about is going to be how to build a real relationship with your customers. And the reason why this is really important, it is because right now we live in a particular era where on one side, we have all the tools to create more connections. But on the other side, as humans, we feel more isolated than ever. And in particular, after the pandemic, this is magnified, this feeling. So when we are in business, it's important to understand that it's important to create connection with customers, because the moment we connect with them, then is the moment that we'll come back over and over again. So what we will explore today in this session is going to be, how do we create those connections with customers? So while I'm getting the slideshow ready, what I want you to do in the chat, and everyone who is here, I want to leave a comment. So no here passive listening, like I'll keep it in the background and I do 500 things at the same time. I know I can see you. I got a camera there. I can see you. What I want you to do is to let me know, what does connection mean to you? What does connection mean to you? We start in that way. Write it down here in the comments, and then I'm going to get started with the slideshow, with the screen share, straight away while you're doing that. All right. So I think, and let me know as well if you can see, if you can see the slides. So let me know if you can see them. So good morning, welcome everyone, welcome. So what does connection mean to you? What does connection mean to you? Let me know here in the comments. What is your meaning of connection? I'll tell you, my meaning of connection is to get people to know you, because you can't get connected with someone that you don't know. There is a feeling of, I know you. I believe the things that you believe. I can see you. I can see you the way you are. And based on this, what we need to do is to apply the same principle to a business. I can see your business. I can see your business as it is. I can connect with your business. We have people saying trust and understanding, even if it's a connection equal relationship, the feeling of eye contact. Absolutely. Meaning of connection is to have a personal value with someone. From Renko, thank you, Renko. Chris has mentioned the eye contact. Anel, connection is to establish a relationship with someone or something. Thank you. JP, sharing a cup of coffee during a meeting. Well, talking about cup of coffee, there you go. Cheers. Then we are here. So these are all the meanings of connection. And my promise to you today is that you will get what you came here for. So we will explore strategies. It will be very interactive. And you will have great strategies to build connections with your customers. And your promise is to stay until the end and engage. Because I love live events. I'm a stage animal, okay? And for me, I feed from the... So you give me love, I give you even more love. So that's why the love that you can give me is to be interacting in the chat. That's the only way I can connect with you, unfortunately, in here, as I cannot see your face and I cannot see you, unfortunately. And if you like something that I say, use the hashtag #GrowWithGTex, and I'm gonna check and I'm gonna send you surprises and prizes. So if you like, use the hashtag #GrowWithGTex. That's always a context that I do in every presentation. So as I mentioned, we moved into a new era. Have you heard of this? This Corona thingy? It kind of changed the way we live. It changed the way our society lives. It changed the way we interact. It changed the ways we are interacting right now. I would have been in Amsterdam. I joined this beautiful city, and instead I'm here in my office doing this presentation. So it changed the way we live. It changed the way we interact with each other. And this is who we are right now. This is who we are. We are all a small box in a Zoom screen or other broadcasting platform. And, with this, how difficult is to connect with people compared to where we were before? Maybe that before there were more chances to meet people in person. They could feel you. They could see you. They could feel your energy. Maybe if you're like me, I'm Italian, you can hug people, right? So is a way different game in the online world now, where everyone is a small window in a screen to create that connection. And our role is to understand how can we as business people connect with our customers, knowing that they see us like this. But if they see us like this, they see other millions of businesses like this. And we see them like this. So that's what we are going to cover today, because and that's a bit the context in which we are, which is important. Now, I'll give you a bit of a story on why I got so passionate about connection. I'm Italian. I've been living in the UK. I've been living in London for about 12 years now. And my first career started when I was 14. And as any good Italian, what do? You're a waiter. Right? So I started my career as a waiter when I was 14. I wanted to quit school because I loved it so much. For me, it wasn't just a summer job. I started as a summer job, but I fell in love with it. My mom forced me to complete school, so thank you, Mom. I appreciate it. She fought really hard because I was ready to quit. But why did I love working in a restaurant so much? It's because of the connection that I could create with people. And by the age of 19, I became one of the youngest Michelin star restaurant manager in Europe. And I managed my first Michelin star restaurant at 19. And the reason why I had such a fast career in the catering industry is because of the ability that I had and the interest that I put in every single customer. I wanted to know about them. I wanted to connect with them. I wanted to talk to them. I wanted to talk with the other staff members. And that was in me. That's why I love this topic of connection so much. And when I decided to start my business, was an event company at the age of 22, after I got a bit bored about the catering industry, then, yeah, GDPR, I know, right? When in the catering industry, I decided to start my first event company. We didn't have much money, so we started in me and my business partner, which spoke yesterday, Ben Shorter, about creating high-performing teams. We had our first event in a farm. We only had a few £100 each. So we managed to get this free room in an organic farm. There were pigs around. There were some mulch everywhere. We marketed the event for 2 months. We had 4 people coming. 2 were the speakers. 1 was my business partner's father. And the other one was their only lost soul that actually came at the event, which we chained at the chair. Said, no, you're not going to move from here. And that was the beginning. But from there, we were able to then work with some incredible corporate company like the Adecco Group over the years to help their sales team, because we were growing as a business, as an organization. I started getting featured on some of the major TV shows. In this case, was a major Italian TV show talking about Brexit. And it all starting from scratch. We made mad millions with our company, talking all over the world, becoming an official contributor of Forbes Entrepreneur magazine. collaborating with some of the biggest names in the industry like Les Brown, Gary Vee, and being recognized by the royal family for the work that we do here in the UK. Now, I can say I meet the Queen, I met the Queen's hat. I was a few rows before, but just being there was awesome. So how did that all happen, starting from scratch to go to this point, is because of this. It's because of this. It's because of the people that we were able to help. It's because of the communities that we were able to create. And these are the communities of clients that we have. So the question I want to ask for you is, before we go into the strategies, now that you have a bit of context about why I love this topic so much, is what do you think is the number one reason why connection doesn't happen? What do you think is the reason? Why doesn't connection happen? Because we said before about what's your meaning of connection. What prevents it to happen? Individualism. Thank you, Chris. Individualism. Not reaching out. So there is not exchange. Thank you, Heidi. Fear, Yvette. Can you expand a bit more on fear? Fear of what? Renko, interest. Interest, yes. Can you expand on interest? Is that different interest, for example, or there is not interested in the connection? Bad communication. Oh my God, absolutely. But no, I meant that. Were you supposed to say the other thing? Oh my God. If I have to think the breaking connection that sometimes I have with my wife is a lot of time because of breaking communication. If fear of opening yourself up, this is so true. Fear of opening yourself up. Anyone here, and please be honest, I'll be always honest with you. Be honest, if anyone here is a bit of a fear of, but if I told too much about myself, or if I told too much about what we do behind the scene of our business, we might actually not portray that image, or that fear of what if they will not like this part of myself, or what if they will not like this part of my life or my business. And those fears are legit. I have a lot of clients that they are very uncomfortable talking about themselves. And but this is one of the most important things to connect, but it's about being strategic with it. And we're going to cover that in a moment. Renko, not putting the right interest in people. I see. Asking the questions behind it. I love it. Not interested in people at all. Some people, they just say, I'm not interested in people at all. So these are the different reasons why connection doesn't happen. In my opinion, the connection doesn't happen in business right now is because of this. When you are in business, in particular scaling, it becomes a lot about data. It becomes a lot about numbers. So I found that at the very beginning of a stage of a business, there is this willingness to connect with the customers, to talk to them, because everything is exciting. You got this idea, you want to talk about it, you want to express it to people, but then you arrive to a point where the business is established, and now it's time to expand. And so there is this, there is a distance. Right now, I'm not connected. We have thousands of clients. I'm not connected with our clients anymore as I was before, when I had 10 clients and I was working with all 10 of them. And so it's easy to create that distance in the sake of gathering data, gathering relevant information about the audience. And a lot of time, it feels like that all we are is a number or an Instagram profile. Or our clients or potential clients are a number on an Instagram profile, or a LinkedIn profile, or a Facebook profile, or a Twitter profile. There is just that number. And that number is a barrier between me and you. Because behind that number, there's a person. Unless it's a bot. Okay, on social media, sometimes you don't know if there is an automated bot that starts following people automatically, but it's not a kind of conversation. Most of the time, behind the number, there is a human being. So our role is to connect with a human being behind the number, and not see numbers as numbers, but see numbers as people. And when we do that, there's a shift. Everything changes. Because now we want to connect with that person, and it's a bit more difficult to connect with that number, with that follower. Does it make sense so far? Let me know if it makes sense. Just give me a yes, so to know that we are all at the same page. Heidi mentioned that I think that what we do isn't special, but sometimes people's reaction remind me that it is. This is such a great point. what we do is normal to us because we do it. Right? And then you told to someone else, say, oh my God, you do that? This is so amazing. You told to your customer and they thank you for the work you do. And it reminds you about how the work that we put in makes an impact, is special. How do you keep the original energy? This is a great question. I'm going to answer it at the end. So keep it there, Chris. I'm going to answer it at the end during the Q&A. So while you have questions, please write them down because Laura is also going to check questions. I'm going to check them. And we have a question also for the Q&A for the last 15 minutes. Now, this is the number one piece of advice I ever received in business. This is the number one piece of advice I've ever received in business. And this advice came from this man, Mihai Herzeg. One of the sweetest, kindest, most loving person and business person I've ever met in my life. Now, Mihai had one business which built, he had many businesses, but when I met him, he lost almost everything. And because he had a construction company and one big client didn't pay the work that he did. And so he had to lay off all his workers and he was a bit stuck. And he decided to build an organic plant and food shop. So what he did, there was in New Cross Gate, which is an area in the south of London, there was a pub and a railway and a bridge with some railway tracks. He built on his own using pallets and wood. He built an entire shop in that corridor. Now, he started with a few plants there. Over the years, was selling the plants and buying more plants, selling the plants and buying more plants. Now, over the years, that shop built up over 3 stores, which he was living at the top. And I was going there, always buying my organic vegetables. Now, something happened in my life at that time where I was supposed to move with my girlfriend in another part of the south of the UK, about 5 hours from London. So I quit my job and I left my room. The day before moving there, we had that phone call. You know where I'm going. So we split up. Now, in that moment, the business wasn't going great. It was just at the beginning, so I had no money. I had nowhere to stay. I couldn't pay a deposit for another room. And so what I did, I went shopping because I needed food to buy my organic vegetables at Mihai's shop that at the time was called Digdis Nursery. And Mihai said, well, I told him about the situation. He said, you know what? I have a room in my house, stay in my place, and then whenever you have the money for your rent, you will pay it. It's like, oh my God, thank you. Now, at that time, he had a problem with his leg, so I decided to barter my rent with helping him get the shop. So I said, what if I work for you 2 days a week and I don't pay your rent? So basically, I had my rent and food covered for a good number of 3.5 years. That allowed me to build a business. That allowed me to build where I am. And we were talking about business all the time, every single day, because I was passionate about it. He had many businesses, but he couldn't speak much English. So we could find a way anyway to communicate. And he did something incredible to build that shop. He started organizing something called the Tomato Festival. Now, the Tomato Festival was a festival where we were growing on the rooftop of this organic shop more than 1,000 plants with 150 different kinds of tomatoes. We had the kids of the community involved coming in, planting the tomatoes during the period of planting. And then we were doing a festival where the kids were taking their plants with their parents. We had face painters, we had music, there were stores around the street. So we closed an entire road. And what he did there that was brilliant, it was building a community around his business. Because also what he built was a seed brand called Happy Seeds that you can see here. Guess which seeds they were using to plant the tomato? So the parents were buying the Happy Seeds, but then they were coming back over and over again. And what he did, he built a community. He built a community that connected over something that was bigger than themselves. And that was the biggest piece of advice that he ever gave me. Build your community will build your business. And that's how we create connection, because creating a connection in a business right now is not just about creating a connection between you and the customer or your brand and the customer. Creating the connection right now is about creating connection between you and the customer and between customer to customer. That's where real connection happens. That's where real community happens, not when it's just a one-way direction, but with a multi-interconnected ecosystem of people that believe the same thing, that have the same value, that are going towards a common goal. And if you can build that in your business, there is a you are going to find an exponential growth, because people that want to be part of something, they will now naturally recommend other people to join the community, and the community then will build your business. Does it make sense so far? Give me a yes. Give me a yes if it makes sense. Let me know if you have any question or any comment here in the chat, so then we know we are in the same page. Now, Mihai, just to wrap up the story of Mihai, that store became one of the 10 most loved stores in London, from the Time Out Guide, which is one of the most exclusive, most important guides that there are. And then we built together a restaurant, a chain of health food stores that we expanded. We had a pub. Right now, there is the restaurant that is working really well. They sold the chain of health food stores over the years, and we built this together. I was one of, and we ended up partnering up and becoming business partner in that. And that's a lot alongside while I was building GTex as a business consulting company, as an event company. Now, another brand that does this incredibly well is, which I'm going to talk to you in a moment about this brand, is a brand related to basketball. Now, I play basketball. Now, if you see me in person right now, you can't see me, but I'm short. I'm pretty short. It's like in centimeters, 170, okay, 172. But I love playing basketball. I'm super competitive. I play to win, and I play in the second division in the National League here in the UK. Now, I'm the worst player in my team, to be honest. But just being there, considering that I started playing at 28 and I'm 32 now, that's I'm just happy to be there. And when my wife saw this picture, said, "Oh, you know what? You don't really fit in there, right?" A lot. So I kind of blame her. But there is one brand that to build communities incredibly well over the years. And whether you like that brand or not, I know that there are some things that I actually don't like about the way they build their clothes and their shoes. So I'm using this about as an example, not as an example of sustainability, is Nike. Because Nike, what they did when they were starting out, and even right now, they will sponsor and organize basketball tournament, running competitions. So what they do, they create communities of people interested in a particular sport. That's why they had a huge breakthrough in the basketball world, because they were creating opportunities for people to play basketball where there were not opportunities. Guess what? If I were to buy a pair of shoes, I would buy now a pair of shoes of a brand that I feel I belong to. And that has been an incredible strategy for Nike, where they were thinking about building the communities, building places where people could meet, be together. So I told before, interaction between member to member, and not just interaction between member to brand. And that's how they did it. It was brilliant. And they had they have a clear why and communicating that. In fact, it goes me now, that's how we have been building GTex. We created a community first. When we run more than 100 events with GTex before even starting running our paid programs. Why was that? Because we were building people, we were getting people together. When it was the right time, we had immediately customers coming in because the community was there. And that's over the years why we have built the GTex method, where for any business, you work in 4 different areas. One is the clarity, so your strategy, then your conversion strategy, how you're attracting and converting client, expansion, which is the third pillar about your audience building, and the influence, which is the influence that you have. And at the center of this, as the core of this, is your community. Because your community will determine your strategy, will determine your sales conversions, will determine how you expand in this community, and will determine what influence are you going to have, what's going to be your profile to attract the right people. And now the question is, what do you think builds communities? That's the question I have for you. What do you think builds communities? Let me know here in the comment. In the meanwhile, while you're writing, Renko, Pamela said, you're a wonderful example of an authentic public speaker. You embrace yourself fully, which in turn makes us embrace you as a viewer. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm glad you see it. It's nice to be seen. Thank you. What else? What builds a community? What do you think that builds a community? Let's brainstorm it together, because what I want you to do is to have a set of principles. So look at the chat, not just like watch passively. Look at the chat, take notes, because these are all principles and examples that you can use to build your business. You can implement. That's what I want for you. Mutual respect and then desire to create something good. Very powerful, JP. We have shared goals. Absolutely. Thank you, Laura. Interaction. The interaction. Brilliant. Thank you, Yvette. Chris, a word of mouth. That builds a community. People recommending each other. Absolutely. Shared values. People need to feel safe. This is very powerful. People that can feel free to be themselves and to express themselves, not to feel wrong or to feel an outsider, but to feel an insider. That's what builds a community. Common beliefs from Heidi. Anel, having a good connection based on honesty and clarity. That clear communication, a need to belong. Thank you, Laura. This is so beautiful. You're absolutely awesome. Like, I don't need to do anything more. Like, you have completed the rest of my presentation. Now I can go home. We can start the Q&A. What can I say? Human beings that build a community. Thank you, Herman. Exactly. Human being, your fairy godmother. Thank you, Herman. I absolutely love your tagline. So there are what I've identified to make it simple for you. And of course, there are more layers to this. But at the top level of the layers, what makes it simple is these 4 parts that build a community. PCBP. So write down these letters, because we're going to explore them together in a moment before we go in to the Q&A. Everyone loves Herman. I love Herman too. I just see the fairy godmother right now. You see, that's a great example of connection, right? That's a great example of connection that just happened right now in the chat. So beautiful. So write this down, and then we're going to start exploring them one by one. So the first one is the B is belief. Someone mentioned it in the comments, I think Heidi and probably someone else, is a shared belief. Is a shared belief of something that you have in common. Is a shared belief about the word. Is a shared belief about how society should be. Is a shared belief about how a certain industry should be. Is a shared belief about a common interest. This is you can see it in politics, right? There is a shared belief about certain principles that will get someone to follow a particular political party over another. What do political parties do? They build communities. They build followers. They build people that will vote them. In this case, for a business, it's people that will buy. In a political party, it's people that will vote. But the community building happens because of the shared belief. So in your case, I want you to think about, what do you believe in? Because it's not about aligning to what others believe. So if you look at, you might do some client analysis, and you say that your clients, they have all these different set of beliefs. Now, if you do this way, it's very reactive. But if you got to start from yourself, you got to start from the core of your business. What do you believe to be true about humanity, about society, about your industry, about the way things should be run, about the world, about how people live their life? So all these things that go beyond the mere exchange of a product. Because when I'm buying into a brand, I'm buying into a belief. I'm not buying a product. That's the difference between a transactional sale and a sale that happens because someone is in love with their brand and they love it because I feel part of something bigger than myself. So you got to start thinking, what do you believe that is bigger than yourself? And then communicate it. Because that will attract the people that will believe what you believe, that will believe what your brand believes. And if you've not done this exercise before, it's great. Do it. Look at the beliefs that you have and then see, how can I communicate them more so then I can attract more of these people. And you will find that you will work with clients that are going to be a joy to work with. Why? Because you're the same wavelength. You can feel, when you have these clients that you say, oh, I feel like we are so connected. That happens on a belief level. And this is really a really powerful first step. And if you have any question, please put them in the chat, because we're going to go in about 15 minutes into the Q&A. Laura says, everybody, thank you for your comment. All right. I appreciate it. Communities in need, Pamela, this type of communities need this type of strategy, but how can communities in need, low income, utilize your strategy? Ooh, this is a great question for the Q&A. Please remind me, Pamela, Laura, please remind me of this. Brilliant question. We're going to cover that in a moment. Then we're going to go to the C. The C is your cause. On top of the belief, there is a common cause that is worth fighting for. It's a common goal. There's someone else before, let me know, please, who said a shared goal in the chat. I read it before. This is a shared goal, a shared cause. Something, again, that is bigger than myself, that is worth fighting for, that is worth working for. Now, for example, if I'm thinking about the beliefs that we have at GTex, GTex, our company, stands for Growing Together Exponentially. Right? That's the name of our company. We showed it at GTex because our first website was growingtogetherexponentially.com. My first email was Simone at growingtogetherexponentially.com, which normally no one can spell. So we had to shorten it, and it became GTex. Rookie mistakes when you start a business at 22 and you know nothing about branding and all this kind of stuff. So the cause that we believe in, the belief that we have, is growth. We believe in our personal growth and the growth of other people around us. We believe in togetherness, in doing things together. And we believe in exponential growth, in doing, think about the exponential curve, is doing the work consistently where even you see no results, to get that moment where everything comes together and you have that spike. The only exponential curves, unfortunately, we have been seeing recently are about the COVID cases. So that was like not a great example, but on a business level, it's the same thing. What you have, you put the work in, no one sees anything. You can't even see anything. You lose your mind, and then what happened? Something happened, and it all makes sense. And our aim is to be with you throughout the process, to get to that point and help you throughout that. So that's the beliefs that we share. So people that believe in doing things together, they will work with us. People that are more solo players, they will not work with us, because everything we do is about community. Is about growth, is about taking out of action, getting things done. So someone who is more laid back, they will find our programs and courses way too intense for them. If someone doesn't believe in the consistent growth and evolution, they will not resonate with us. So for us, it's about talking about it to attract those people. And the cause that we believe in is, and this is for me a really important one, is about being able to express ourselves as a human being. That's the cause that we believe in. For me, business is a way to express myself, to express my creativity, to express my ideas. And the cause that we believe in is are to give people an opportunity to express themselves, and to give people a voice. So there can be a change for good. And we do this now, not only with our clients, but also with the charities that we support. So now it becomes more of a business strategy to believe and to keep supporting that cause. So think about, what is your cause? What is the cause that you believe in? What is the cause that is worth fighting for you, so you can attract other people that want to fight that cause? All right, I'm going to move on into the next one and keep giving your question in. The next one is belonging. Someone else said belonging. Please let me know in the chat who was the person who said belonging before. I read it in the chat before, so let me know in the chat who was that. And also let me know in the chat who was the person who said a shared goal, because I know I cannot see you right now. So just say me, then I can thank you for that. Laura, thank you, Laura. Okay, so belonging is, as I mentioned, feeling an insider, not an outsider. It means feeling part of something big. And you create a feeling of belonging when you are surrounded with other people that think in the way you think, that see the world in the way you see. And that's about the power of community. You feel a sense of belonging as well, where the connections that you build, they go beyond that transaction. If you think about business, the sense of belonging happens not when you buy a product, but a sense of belonging happens where you see a brand taking care of you. You see a brand making you part of their bigger ecosystem, and then you say, I belong here. Now, you might not even say that, but your action will speak for it, because you might always buy for that brand or from that person because you know you belong there. And there is nothing more powerful at a sales level than having people that feel they belong to your community. Because every time you're going to launch a new product or service, if they have to choose between buying from you or buying from someone else, who they're going to buy from? I was having a conversation with a client that she's been working with us for about 4.5 years now, and she needed extra help, and she was exploring different options for what help she needed on, in particular, to grow and to scale her business and automate a lot of her marketing processes in terms of lead generation, which is a big part of what we do in the scale up phase of the businesses. And she asked to a few different people. Now, when we had a call, and I said, please, like, explore the other different option, but she said, I'd rather work with you because you already know me and I feel I belong here. I almost cried on that call when she said that, because the work that you do in your business that gets to that moment will never be seen and will never be recognized, because it's something that happens over consistency. For me, that moment gave perspective of the work that we've been doing over the past 8 years with GTex, which we've been around for 8 years now with this particular company. And this is created by creating that community, by creating that connection, by giving the shared belief, by having a shared cause. And then we are going, yeah, just go chill. I got chills too just by telling the story. I mean, I was almost crying on the call. I had to stop myself just to look at me professional there. Like, okay, all right. Then we have platform. That's the P. That's the next part. We need a platform for people to be connected with, because all this is good and great, but you need to facilitate this interaction. You need to be the facilitator, and that's what takes time, effort, and energy. And this is the work that I said that no one will pay you for, and no one will see. Is the work that you're doing behind the scene on the platform to create those connections, to get people to interact with each other, to support each other, to believe in you, to get them to know you and you to know them. And so now I want you to think, what platform? What platform do you want to use? What's your platform? Is it going to be, a Facebook group? We do a lot of things through Facebook group, for example. I know some people don't like Facebook, and so they might use LinkedIn groups. Some people, they will create their own platform for people to connect, and they have their own apps or their own systems and their own software and their own communities. But what is the one that you want to use to facilitate that? Because nurturing a community, it takes time, it takes energy, it takes effort. The work that you do now of nurturing will pay you 6 to 12 months down the line. And so it's about having that long-term view of saying, I know that the work I'm doing now to nurture this community, to connect with people, to create connection, to share my values, to share the cause, to get people involved in charity projects. I mean, one of the things that we do consistently with GTex is we get our clients involved in our charity projects that we do, because we do charity projects that are aligned to the cause that we believe in. In particular, we do a lot of work with young people from I started my first business working in schools and delivering talks in schools. I was never labeled I was labeled as bright in school, but school never got me. And so that's why I wanted to leave at 14. So I just basically cruised just to get the minimum votes and get out with a kick in my arse. So one of the reasons, what I believe, is that there are a lot of people that school can't reach, and we want to reach them. Maybe they were just born entrepreneurs and they don't know it yet. But school is not set up for it. Some are. Some there are more innovative schools that are evolving in that. And we do a lot of charity projects in that area. Getting our clients involved, facilitating this. No one is paying me for that. But I do it for two reasons. One, for the cause. I will do it anyway. I believe in it. Two, I know that also on a business level will create a deeper connection with our clients. So it doesn't have to be exclusive, that does either good for the world or good for the business. What if it does good for you, good for the business, and good for the world at the same time? How powerful is that? And when you have that, when you build that, and you have that in your business, is destined to success. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, right? Every business has their challenges. I mean, who doesn't? The bigger the business, the bigger the challenges. But you will not have problems in finding clients or getting clients recommending you. That's a problem that you will not have in that way. And the reason why this works, it is because on a psychological level, people feel isolated, people feel lonely. And when you are lonely, it feels that you have to face the world on your own, right? That's when you're lonely. You feel that you have to face the world on your own, that you have this massive weight over your shoulder to put this rock. And so if you think that your clients have that, this is what they are experiencing right now, whatever that rock is for them, which is the problem that you solve. And you are that person there not only to give them the helping hand when they are climbing that mountain, and you're there to say, you know what, let me help you out right now. I got you. I got your back. I'm here with you. We are in this together. Not in a cheesy way of the COVID, we are in this together. No, I'm with you. I'm with you on this. But not only that, you're also the person who provides the support network. So you're not the only one taking people, because this takes a toll on you. You can do it one, you can do it two, you can do it three, you can do it four. But when you have all your customers, your team, your partners, your shareholders, everything, it's just as much power that you have in your arm, depending on, doesn't matter how much you work out. But if you create this, then now everyone takes a part of the load. You will have your community that will do a lot of things for you that will alleviate that weight for you as a business owner. So you invest that in your community will invest in you. We hired all our people from our clients, like all our team. We hired actually from our clients. is weird, because they were already believing in the company. They believed enough in us to invest in us. So the belonging was there. And now we looked at the talent that was there. And if they wanted to join our team, that's what we did. We had people volunteering for us when we have events and say, no, I want to be there. I want to help you. Sharing the load. And that's what it's all about. And that's what, in our small way, we've been able to build with GTex, and we will keep using these strategies and advocating these strategies all over the world. Because when you're using, talking about your business, when you're working on your strategy, when you're working on your conversion, your expansion strategy, and your influence, and the way you're showing up, and you put your community in the middle of it, and it becomes the center of your decisions, then you will have a business which will be not only sustainable, it will be a great business for you, for your clients, and for the world. And there is nothing more fulfilling and better than that. So I want to check with you. Was this training valuable so far? Before we're going to the Q&A. Damn, I was on time. 10:45. I mean, it's 10:45 for me. For you, it might be 11:45. I'm in London. But I would say 45 minutes, bang on time. I like it. 11:45. That's good. All right, fantastic. Thank you. So now I want just to plug something. If you're interested in building your community strategy together, then what I would love you to do is to connect with me on LinkedIn. So if you connect with me on LinkedIn within this Q&A over the next 5 minutes, and the reason why I say 5 minutes is because if you do it later than the end of the session, you will never do it. And it might be something that you're interested in or you want to connect, but then life gets in the way, you get the new sessions, and I know how these things work. So if you do it now, what I will send you as a thank you is a training video where I'm expanding on the different strategies and the pointers that we talked about today on how to build a community to build your business. That's something you're interested in, connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know that you were at this base conference, because I receive sometimes when I do this presentation, or depending on the days, 200, sometimes 300 LinkedIn requests every week. So it's quite difficult to manage, and I check all the LinkedIn requests personally. So because I want to connect. That's otherwise, what's the point? All right. And if that's you, just say, hey, I've seen at the base conference. I would love the training, and you let me know. So now we're going in the Q&A. We're going to the Q&A. So let's get started. We are already connected on LinkedIn. So if you're already connected on LinkedIn, then send me a message. So then I know I can send you the training. Okay, just like that, let me know that you want the training, and I'll tell you. Okay, so this is where you can find me. So it's Simone Vincenzi on LinkedIn, and my email is simone@gtex.org.uk. So I'm going to stop sharing right now, so Laura can come back into the room and help me out with the questions. Oh my God, how are you going to survive Brexit? I'm getting a British citizenship. That's the answer, Pamela. I've been here for 12 years. I'm married. My wife is British. So I'm going to get a British citizenship. That's how I'm going to survive Brexit. Let's get going. So I just need to stop sharing here. And Laura, if you can come back and help me out with moderating the questions, that will be great.
Yes, I'm back. Thank you very much for this super energetic and inspiring presentation. Everybody just connect with Simone if you need help, real help. I'm sure it's gonna worth it. And please send your questions. Now it's time for answering them. We have so far a question from Chris and from Pamela. Mm-hmm. Chris earlier was asking, how do you keep the original energy?
That's the most difficult part. There are a few things. One for me is never to be detached from my customers and for the people that we serve. So there was a point where we hired our team because I had this dream of removing myself to a lot of aspects of the business, and one of them was the delivery of the training. Because there was a point where I was running 200 events every year, and it took a toll. I want to spend more time playing basketball, or now thinking about building a family with my wife, and so that wasn't sustainable. And so what I did, I started removing myself, as a good business owner should do, to a lot of different parts of the business, but I removed myself too far from the customer side. And also I hired the wrong person to do the community manager role. That was a shamble. We had clients complaining, clients leaving, clients not joining, and the energy that we brought in at the beginning was the energy that attracted people, wasn't there anymore. So what I do now is to be actually way closer with my clients, first of all. So I will reach out to clients every single week. I cannot reach out to all the ones that we have, but this gives me a pulse of keeping the same energy and also hiring people that have the same energy. That's another part when you're scaling, is getting the right people that can also be like, bring the same energy to the table for that particular role. Not everyone has to bring the same energy, but for example, my energy is very upbeat, it's very funny. I know that's someone wants a sad story, a motivational story. That's not me. I bring the party. And that's important for me to have someone as a community manager who brings the party and all the other beliefs that we have. So that's how we keep the same energy.
Renko is answering related questions. What if you are not there? Would the same energy be in the company?
If you have the right people, yes. If you have the right people, yes. That becomes down to the company culture, company management, and the foundation that you have put in before. Is that if you put in the right foundation when you are there, then is more likely that the company is going to be in a similar trajectory. Of course, everyone will bring their own flair, and that you got to be open for things to adapt and change a bit. But also, ultimately, you are the person in charge of that energy to be kept alive. So the moment you don't see that the energy is there anymore, either there is a problem in a process or there is a problem in a person. And it's your responsibility then to fix it or replace it with the right solution or person for that.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to read the question from Pamela now.
Sure.
This type of strategy, but how can communities in need, low income, struggling, utilize your strategy? There are so many challenges, therefore, how can they start? What are the key basics that should be implemented?
Yeah, I think for every community is a common goal. And that will be the first thing, like a common goal and a shared belief. I work with a lot of communities that are considered developing, that are labeled developing or labeled in need. And in every community, there is always a leader, someone that has a vision for a better version of that community. So it's about finding that person. And sometimes it can be you, right? Sometimes if you are part of that community, it can be you, or about finding that person that can lead that community. Because for every community change, a change that comes from an outsider is always going to be very different or seen in a different light than a change that comes from an insider. And that's why, first of all, is to find the insider. And if the community doesn't have already a better vision of them, you can help them out by helping them finding that vision and finding the leaders that they want to be part of creating that vision. And that will be the starting point, because actually it's easier, like for community need that they want to change, it's easier to get people on board because the story can connect. It's almost like when the charities go in, they support people in need. I want to help. And so if someone wants to help and you give me a good story, which now goes around the beliefs and the common and the cause and so on, then there are a lot of opportunities and hope for that community. And knowing that it might take decades or half a century for it, because it's a generational change that also needs to happen. So we can start things, but it might be like 1 or 2 generations before the things actually change. That would be my answer to this.
Anel's question is, yes, please, if you have further questions, please write them in the chat box. We're going to Anel now. What is the best way to expand the strategies you mentioned to your cohorts and communities?
It is consistently about communication. So just because you believe in something, maybe it's clear to you the belief, the cause, the platform, and what I shared, and the belonging, what I shared before. Keep repeating them over and over again. They need to become almost like a mantra, because you never assume that someone already has it. Just because it's in you, because that's what you have, doesn't mean that it's in your clients. So every team meeting that you have is about, so these are the benchmark. These are the things that we believe in. Are these projects aligned to that? So it's always creating projects and checking back with what your core beliefs are, what your core values are, what the platform is going to be, what the community wants, and checking that everything you do and everything your team does reflects back to that. So in that way also, they will start, your team, if you start getting them to check all the time, there will be a point that they will do it automatically, and they will call you out when you don't do it. Because there are times where I forget about this. I'm a human being, and I have other people and say, you know what, if you do this, this is the message we are sending out, but this is not the message that we stand for. So how about we change it in this way? And when that happens, you know that you've done a great job. So is a consistent repetition, creating conversations around that, and every project guidelines that you do, every product that you create matches that. And the other level is matching it with your actions. So I told you before about what I believe in with GTex, right? It's growth, it's togetherness, and doing the work to get the results. You have experienced a part of it even without me saying it before already, because it means every time I run a presentation, I'm going to do things together. So I use some of the things that you were saying in the presentation to build my presentation, in the comment to build my presentation. That's subconsciously is things to do together. Right? It gives an expression on how we are running things. There are people that hate this because they just want to watch. I like, no, if you just want to watch, don't work with me, because you will never ever experience that. So you will communicate also your values with your actions to your clients. That's at the other level. That will be the best answer I can give to this question. And let me know if you want me to build on this, but or if I answered your question, because there are multiple layers, but for the time that we have right now, I think that's a great starting point.
Thank you. 4 more minutes we have. And we'll go to Yvette's question. How often and how much time do you need to be in the community to build it? Also because of building the business.
every day, multiple times a day. I interact with my community every day, at least 3-4 times a day. And I check, we use Facebook to build communities in this case. And we have, for every program, we have a different group. We have a group with all our clients that are part of our programs. And also we have a group for people that are clients and non-clients. So at the moment, I think we have about 6 groups that we are managing, 6 communities, but they are very different in nature, even if people might be part of all of them, because they might be part of all our programs. So I'm there 3-4 times a day, asking questions, interacting with people, connecting with people, because they're my people. And if you have that love, you want to be there. If you love your clients, you want to be there. Because also I know on a business level, they are the people that will buy my stuff. So I want to be there as well for that.
So the last question, and we're going to be right on time. It's from Herman. I think this question has something to do with building relationship. If not, please disregard my question. Why do customers prefer to speak to the manager directly with a problem instead of speaking to other staff, for example, in a retail shop or a call center?
A few different reasons. That's a brilliant question. Is that I had to face this question because naturally for the work that I do, people want to work with me. Because most of the time I'm the face of the brand, I'm the face of the business. So if people have to have a choice, they will work with me rather than to work with our coaches or our team. Even though many members of our team are way better than me, but it's perception, right? And so the same thing happened in a call center or in a store. I won't talk to the manager because I perceive that the manager can be more helpful, right? And so one of the things that we can do is to make the access to the managers more difficult to get. So in that case, I made access to me more difficult. I just increased my price to really high prices and limit the number of clients I'm taking on. It's like if someone doesn't want to pay me 20 grand a year plus a percentage of their business, they're not working with me. And that has been a decision, which was not an easy decision to make, but it was a decision for someone to then consider working with my team and give them a shot and see how great they are. And then once they do, they don't want to work with me anymore because they love my team more than me. So, so in a shop or in a call center is first of all down to training. How well are the people trained to solve questions and to solve problems? Their responsibilities that they have to make certain calls. The reason why I won't talk to your manager is because maybe I don't believe that you have the power to solve my problem, right? And then the other part is ego. There are some that you can't control. You have some people that will want to talk to the manager because it makes them feel important, makes them feel valued, it makes them feel validated. And that's more on their side than on your side as a company, but is a part of recognizing the factor. So if you train your people well, if you put something in place where you don't, it's very difficult to access the manager as well. And the staff that are there to solve the problem, they also have the power to solve it there in real time. And you give them the permission and the confidence, because it goes down to culture, to have them to make their own decision, even if it might be the wrong one, and be okay with that. Then you can start moving away from it.
Thank you so much. It was really great. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in this session, for being curious, for asking questions, commenting. And thank you, Simone, for this wonderful presentation. It was very informative, and inspiring. So thank you for being with us, sharing your time.
I appreciate it. And if there was any question that I haven't answered as well, please put it on LinkedIn when you connect with me. So then I will answer your question personally, because there might be other things that you want to ask either more privately or that I haven't had a chance to answer. So I'm looking forward to connect with you.
Great. That was it. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the workshops today and have a nice weekend, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you.